So this will be our final build tutorial for our Lego character. Eventually we will be getting into UV mapping, creating textures, and also putting together a rig, and maybe a little bit of animation for the overall scene. But in the meantime, yeah, we're pretty much almost done with the build. I'm sure you folks can pick out. The last thing that we're gonna need to do is kind of make our Lego character claw hands. Yeah, so again, really helpful to be able to have our guides. If you remember the last time, we just kind of finished up the arms and then duplicated it over. For the hand, yeah, for the claw hand, we're going to start off with a pipe. Yeah, so I'm going to go into my create menu, go to polygon primitives. Let's find our pipe over here. Whoops. Right over here, yeah. Okay. As far as the settings go, I'm gonna go with the defaults for now. Yeah, so 1, 2, 0.5, axis divisions of 20, height divisions of 1, and then go ahead and click on create. Again, there's our pipe over here. It's a great shape. I'm gonna rotate it in the X direction. Yeah, so rotate X, if you could put that at 90 degrees, and then we'll just kind of place it on to where the hand would be. This may require a little bit of scaling, yeah, so depending on your angle and then how you set up your image plane, but if you can kind of drop that off. One thing you'll probably also notice is that as far as this goes, right now I believe my section for this is going to be, for thickness, is going to be 0.5. I'm definitely going to have to shrink that down a bit. So if you can kind of go into your channel box, look for the shapes section, yeah, and then if you can go to polypipe 1, I'm going to have to bring mine down to about 0.4. Yes, I've put this at 0.4. This is like, this matches up really well. Again, this is also going to depend on your own how your own model kind of turns out. Okay. The other thing I'm going to do is kind of note where the fingers kind of end over here. So I may do a little bit of rotation. Yeah, so I'll just be rotating this in the rotate Z direction, and I'm just trying to get it so that it's spaced out pretty nicely. So maybe right around here. I'll be paying more attention to the yeah, maybe right around here, yeah. So just kind of centering it as much as possible. I'm also going to be getting rid of some of these faces, yeah, so I'm going to right click, go into face mode, and getting rid of these guys. So it kind of looks like a pineapple. Basically, I'm going to be getting rid of everything up until this point, so I'm going to do a little bit of a delete there. You may notice that there are some faces at the bottom that I haven't deleted. I'm going to also get rid of those. So one, and it looks like there's another one over here. Check your top as well, yeah, but that'll kind of set us up for the overall look of that part of the claw. The other thing I'm going to do with this, of course, is make sure that it's shaped like the claw. So I'm going to right click and go to vertex mode. I'm just going to do some real quick tweaks. So if I use the right click, go into vertex mode, jump into my move tool, I'm then going to move these over. Yeah, so click middle mouse drag. Yeah, so click and middle mouse drag over to where those claws kind of end. So I have this one right here. This one kind of looks like it can end up right here, and this set right over here. Yeah, so I'm going to kind of get the overall shape. Yeah, it's kind of minute. Yeah, so we're just going to do our best to get that shape as close to that as possible. Yeah, and that'll pretty much set up our front view. Now we also should be checking our side view as well. So one thing you'll probably notice over here is that the model is a little bit on the short side. I'm going to scale this out so we have this going from here to here. Yeah, so kind of going the length of the arm. Yeah, so that looks pretty good right there. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is just sort of reshape them so that it has more of this rounded look. Yeah, so but yeah, this will pretty much set up our claw. If you notice, after we deleted the faces, we did leave these open spaces. I'm gonna close those up. So if you can go mesh to mesh tools and then choose the append to polygon tool. And we're gonna close these. So remember, append to polygon tool is pretty easy to do. Just click on one edge, go to the corresponding edge on the other side, which is purple. Okay, and then we'll hit return. That'll close that one up. Same thing on the other side. So again, mesh tools, append to polygon, or if you want to use your most recent tool, you can press G, yeah, and that'll also bring you to your most recent tool. And then we can click on one side, click on the other side, it'll turn pink. And if you like how it looks, hit return. Okay, and then you're set. Yeah, so that'll pretty much set up our claw and making sure that is closed. I'm also going to, just for the visual sake, I'm going to go into mesh display and harden the edge, yeah, so it doesn't look as like rounded, yeah, for whatever reason. Okay, now in the side view, this is where things get a little bit tricky. I am going to go to my face mode, and I am going to be selecting those two faces that I just created. Yeah, so these are our two faces that we just made as an append. I'm then going to go into my perspective view, and I'm going to pay really close attention to this guy down here. Basically, I'm going to be scaling this together. Yeah, so both of these. Now notice your claw is sort of at an angle. Yeah, so we're kind of taking one for granted versus the other. And I'm going to kind of scale that thinner. I'm then also going to use the move tool, yeah, to bring that a little bit more forward, yeah. And notice I'm trying to get this straight area over here. I'm really concentrating on the bottom one, yeah, so concentrating on the bottom one. All right, so that's a start, yeah, so you're going to start to see it is looking kind of clawish. I am then going to move into the edges up here, so I'm going to double click, right click and go into edge mode, and then double click on this edge right here. And also, let's see, well, actually I'll click on this edge right here and then this edge right here, yeah. So again, shift, double click, shift, double click, yeah, and that'll catch both of those. Okay, and then once again in the side view, I'm going to do a smaller scale in, yeah, so a bit of a smaller scale in, and then just like with the other one, kind of move it forward because that's kind of where the taper is going. Looks like I gotta widen this a little bit, but right around there is looking pretty good. And again, you'll start to see like it kind of taper off a bit. Yeah, so we do have that look right there. Okay, and it looks like I have just one more to do. So I'm then gonna go one up on the outside, one up on the inside. Again, shift double clicking to get both of them. And then for this one, very simple. Yeah, just gonna do a quick pinch. Yeah, just ever so slight, and then move that forward. Yeah, and that should give us enough to make a pretty nice looking claw. Yeah. So just to test it out, I'm gonna go take a look on here. Okay, looks like it's kind of falling off pretty nicely. Yeah, so I like the look of it. I think we can kind of go with that. If you take a look at your front view, yeah, because we were only moving in the Z direction, yeah, so front to back, it's gonna look like not much has changed. Yeah. All right. Okay, and so we're just about set. That's going to be our claw. I am going to press the 3 key just so we can kind of see what would happen to the claw if we smoothed it, yeah? And you immediately notice that it doesn't look quite right. It looks very pancakey. Yeah, so let's add some holding edges to strengthen it, yeah, before we kind of smooth it out. Okay, so here are where the edges are going to go. We're definitely going to do edge loop near the front. Yeah, so if you can drop one off right over here. Yeah, so super close to the front. Also one super, super close to the back. Okay, we're going to make sure that the tips of the claw are strong. So I'm going to do the same thing on the inside and the outside tips of the claw. Yeah, so both of those. And then everything should pretty much be set as far as those go. So now we're just going to go and pay attention to the front. Make sure that you have an edge loop that is very strong here. And you also have an edge loop that is very strong here. Yeah, so and that should pretty much set you up on both sides of your claw. Okay, of course our test is going to be, yeah, so press Q, right click, go into object mode, press 3. Okay, let's take a look at our claw after doing that. It should have a really nice finish to it, yeah, so and if we take a look at our side view, yeah, it's working out pretty well. Okay, all right, so we got our claw. I'm gonna revert back to one mode just for now. We're not smoothing it out yet, but we are gonna get ready to make our wrist, yeah, or our forearm. Once again, I'm back in my front view. I'm gonna select the following faces, yeah. So I actually want these 5 top faces, or the faces at the top in this area. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, so select those. I'm just holding down the shift key, and dragging, yeah. So shift drag 2, shift drag 3, shift drag 4, and shift drag 5. Okay, now once I get these, okay, this is what it'll look like in our up view. Yeah, we actually want to have less of these faces. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I actually forgot to add one more thing. Just so that we can make a more rounded forearm, I'm going to ask you to go back into object mode, and if you can insert an edge loop right down the center. Yeah, so we're going to drop off an edge loop right about here. Okay, so you can kind of eyeball it. This is the line that I'm most interested in right over here. Yeah, so if you can kind of drop it off approximately in the center. Okay, it looks like it's a little bit to the back, but I can work with that. All right, okay, and then now that we're done with that, then if you can return back to object mode, yeah, so Q, right click, object mode, and then we'll switch to face mode over here, and then once again, we're gonna do the same thing, yeah, so again, click drag, 1, shift, click drag 2, shift, click drag 3, click drag 4, and then we're still shifting, click drag 5. Yeah, so there's our 5 that we're going to be using. Again, this is what it'll look like from this view. We only actually want these middle 2 rows over here, so this row and this row. That being the case, we're gonna really quickly get rid of these. Yeah, so if I hold down my shift key, I'm gonna drag a little rectangle here, little rectangle here, and then a little rectangle right here. Yeah, and that'll get rid of the faces going in that row. Okay. Additionally, I don't want these over here, so these I'm probably gonna go into my perspective view and get rid of. Yeah, so I don't want this, 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 or this. I also do not want this, 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 or this. Yeah. All right, so that'll take care of the front. I'm also going to repeat that process for the back of the hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are gone. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are also gone. Yeah, so that'll give us a lot of that'll give us the faces that we need. Yeah, so in total, you're still going to have about 10 faces at the top. All right. So here's how we're going to set this up. I'm then going to do an extrude. Yeah, so do a Command E, and we're going to scale this smaller. Yeah. Now, one thing you're looking at is trying to keep about in the side view. We're trying to keep about the same width over here for the arm. And then once you're done with that, if you can kind of drop this off. Yeah. So I'm going to kind of bring this in. And it looks like right about here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, just so I have a little bit of leeway to change the shape. Yeah, so maybe about here should be pretty good, I think. Yeah, so that's looking pretty good. Okay, if I take a look at it in my side view, oh, sorry, in my front view, it's going to be really hard to tell like which faces are being selected over here. But I'm going to do a quick selection and a quick scale in here too. Okay, and you notice like we have this point over here and then this point over here. That's kind of telling you the edges of the borders, yeah. And then we want to make sure that this line kind of looks like it lands over here, and this line for the forearm lands right about there, yeah. So if you need to, you can move this like side to side, but for the most part, you might just only have to scale it. Yeah, it is kind of centered on here. All right, and this is the shape that you've made. Okay, it is not going to be very, it's not going to be very smooth. Yeah, it's going to kind of look weird, yeah, as far as the shape goes. Okay, but we're going to do some edits on it. Okay, so here are our edits that we are going to do. First, we are going to get, go into vertex mode. Yeah, and I'm going to ask you to select the following vertices: 1, 2, and 3 on the outside, 1, 2, and 3 on the other side, and then 1, 2, and 3 middle, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, so, oh, sorry. And then 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, so I kind of jumped the gun a little bit over there. But if you notice, I have a total of 12 vertices, yeah, that I've selected. Yeah, so again, and holding down shift, we're using that to select it. I'm then going to scale this in. And the primary purpose of this is to keep this middle part round, but to keep the outside, make it like start to curve. Yeah, so again, with those 12, we're going to scale those in a bit. Yeah, and then you'll sort of tell that it's starting to round out a little bit. After you're done scaling this in a bit, we're then going to hold down the shift key and we're getting rid of these 6 vertices. So here's the ones we're getting rid of: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, those are the ones we're getting rid of. And then we're just going to scale it one more time. Yeah, and again, we're continuing to create that curve. Yeah, so we're continuing to create that curve. All right, and we're just about there. The last step now is going to be to make sure that this area and this area, so on the inside and the outside, are not too flat. So these are the 12. Yeah, so 1, and then holding down shift, yeah, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to go to the back. Same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, so we got all of those vertices, and we're very simply going to scale those to the left. Yeah, and that'll create that roundedness. Again, we're just trying to get the overall shape. Doesn't have to be like a perfect circle, but something like this will help out a lot. Yeah. All right, so now we do have our circle shape from the top. You may notice that it's kind of like wrought havoc in your front view. There's a lot of denting going on. Real easy to fix though, for our purposes at least. We're just gonna go into vertex mode, use the move tool, and only move vertices up. Yeah, so anything that's submerged, if you can select that vertex and bring it up. Yeah, so I'm selecting these vertices and kind of just dropping them off. Be careful about the edge. This edge, if you notice, I kind of messed up and I grabbed one. I just put it back very quietly. But yeah, we're just getting these vertices, making sure that they're kind of on this level. Yeah, so that'll maintain that smooth look. Looks like right over here we got some, so that definitely needs to go up here. Okay, just do the best you can. It's not going to match up exactly, and but as long as it's close by, when you do smooth this claw out, it'll look okay. All right, and then so if you notice now, this will kind of create that circle look. We're then going to take this one and extrude this up. So I'm going to use the move tool. Okay, and then using that, I'm going to go into my side view. I can kind of drop that off. Yeah, so if you notice, it is at a little bit of an angle. I'm going to flatten this, yeah, and then rotate it a little bit. Okay, I'm also going to kind of scale it. Yeah, so scale it out a little bit so it matches more with the arm. Same thing with the front view. Yeah, for this one, I'm just going to slide it to the side. And it looks like I'm just going to do a little bit of a rotation like in here. Yeah, so a little bit of a rotation. Might end up kind of bringing this up a little bit too, just so that it's for sure inside of the arm. And then, yeah, like something like this should work out pretty well. If we take a look at it in this view now, yes, if you click outside, yeah, now we do have our arm in place. We're just gonna do a few holding edges to make sure that this looks good, because when we go into 3, it's gonna feel okay, but slightly mushy. Yeah, so I'm gonna go into my mesh tool, insert the edge loop. So we're gonna have an edge loop right at the bottom, so where the wrist is. And we also are gonna go on a ring on the hand itself, yeah, or the claw itself. Okay, and then last but not least, we're gonna drop off one more ring, just a little bit down from where the top of the forearm would be, yeah, for this claw. Okay, so again, we just added 3 more edge loops, and then when we go into Q, right click and go into 3 mode, and then press the 3 key. Yeah, we should have something that looks really solid for our full-on hand. And yeah, okay, so that should pretty much work. Yeah, okay, now the last thing is, once we got that in place, yeah, so I'm gonna kind of jump this back. Yeah, that's pretty good. I can work with that. Once we've got this in place, yeah, we're going to finalize things. Yeah, so once again, I'm gonna make sure that the arm is labeled correctly. Probably should have done this earlier. So here's Lego left arm. I'm also going to make sure that that it is permanently smooth. Yeah, so I'm going to go mesh and choose the smooth option. Yeah, and so then yeah, that should look nice and clean. And then last but not least, there's still a lot of information on here. Yeah, so oh sorry, this is not the Lego left arm. This should be the Lego left hand. Yeah, or claw. Either way is great. Okay, but you'll notice there's a lot of translate, rotate, scale information on here. We're gonna freeze it, yeah, so go modify, freeze that transformation so everything is back at 0. Yeah, there's no weird, especially for the rotations, we don't wanna mess around too much with that, because then we are gonna have to duplicate for the other side, yeah? Okay, so once we got this claw in place, it's smooth, it's named, it's all of its translations and everything have been frozen. We're then gonna make our other arm, sorry, other hand, yeah, which should be the right side. We're gonna go edit, duplicate special, click on the box next to that. We're gonna scale it, so, sorry, we're gonna duplicate it over in the X direction, yeah, so right over here, the only thing we need is to make sure that the X one, which is the first one, is set at -1. All the rest can be at the defaults, yeah, so whatever the defaults are. And then we're gonna do a quick duplicate special, yeah. And then that'll make the mirror image claw. We can bring that over. It should approximate the other claw because, yeah, this guide is nearly symmetrical, nearly exactly symmetrical. And then the last thing we're going to do, of course, is go into your channel box, or you can go into your outliner and rename this to Lego right hand. Yeah, so Lego right hand. Okay, and then last but not least, we're gonna make sure that everything that we've duplicated doesn't have any weird stuff on it. So here's what I'm gonna ask you folks to do. We're gonna go to each of these pieces, yeah, so Lego head, I'm gonna go modify, freeze that transformation, okay? Same thing with the body, modify, freeze transformations, and you notice we're kind of zeroing mostly everything out. Looks like the arms are okay, we already did that for the arms. Did not, if the right hand, you notice we're flipped, yeah, the scale X is flipped, we don't want that at -1 anymore, so we're gonna go modify, freeze that transformation. Probably midsection, yeah, it looks like we got a little bit of cleaning to do there. Possibly, yours might not have to actually though. And then we're gonna get to the leg, that looks good. And then here's the right leg, that also looks good, yeah. All right, and so that's pretty much the overall build phase of the character.